And what I can tell you is, for the first time in my career, we can no longer, and when I say we, the building community can no longer bring the product to the market that the market wants to buy. Okay, they can bring awesome homes to the market. They can satisfy the top 15, 16% of home buyers. But the bottom 84% of home buyers, cost of land, cost of labor, sticks, bricks, mortar, all of it's so high, cannot bring that product to the market. So what we're having is a opposite of a bubble effect. We have too little supply of homes. Okay, there's not enough homes for sale. The areas that are shaded in pink in the numbers chart, it's broken down northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, and then by price range. Not enough homes in the market. Not enough homes. Okay, the actual relative supply of homes right now is 4 months of supply. It's technically a little bit under 4 months of supply when we look at an annual trend. Normal relative supply would be 6 months of supply. Okay, so what's happening is when buyers go out to look at homes, there's not enough inventory out there to look at. When buyers go out to look at homes and they find one that's priced really aggressively and they want to own it, they have to compete with other buyers to buy it. This isn't happening at every price point, this isn't happening in every area, but if it's under 500,000, it's happening in the northeast and northwest, and inventory is thin. Okay, what we're heading towards is what I've called a compression market. And the only way to describe a compression market is you have the low end appreciating. You've got the high end depreciating. And then you've got this layer in the middle that nobody knows what to do with. Okay, we got to see a little glimpse of this in the early 1990s. The comprehensive land use plan was passed in the mid to late 80s. And a lot of people went in and grandfathered their land as residential, and we saw a flood of residential lots hit the market. Well, I got in the business in '91, and I went out, and Ox Bottom was a white picket farm, and you could see tons and tons of lots for sale, and they were all 25 to 30 grand. Go to the Gardens of Clarn, they were all 25 to 30 grand. So as someone who was brand new in real estate, I just assumed land cost $25,000 to $30,000 a lot. Didn't think about supply and demand, didn't think about the measurement side of the business. Just based on my reality. Lots were 25 to 30 grand. 5 years later, lots were 25 to 30 grand. A couple years later, lots were 25 to 30 grand. All of a sudden in 2002, I wasn't really paying attention, and I saw Ox Bottom Manor, someone was asking $60,000 for a vacant lot. And I figured surely there were two lots bundled together, 25, 30 grand. That was the first time in my career, so over 10 years before I saw lot values go up. And it dawned on me, hey, I guess supply and demand matters in lot sales. Okay, well, I think we're going to have that for our upper end market. I think there's going to be a compression zone in which the people that chose to build multi-million-dollar homes, our market for those has always been thin. Our market right now for luxury homes is better than it's ever been. But we're building luxury homes at a rate that we're not decreasing our supply at a fast enough rate. If you have a multi-million-dollar home to sell, I promise you there's more sellers out there than there are buyers, and that's not a good place to be when you want to sell. If you have something that's approaching $1 million, there's more sellers out there than there are buyers. Okay? And you need to know that supply and demand will impact your ability to sell the home and get the value you want to get. Okay? So, is there a bubble? No, there is not a bubble. A bubble happens when supply rises and demand declines. Right now, we're still seeing increased demand and we're seeing decreased supply. Our problem in Tallahassee exists, but it's not a bubble. Okay? What it is hyperinflation. We're going to see home prices go up so fast and home values appreciate so fast that if you own real estate, you're going to like it, but it's going to trap you eventually. It's going to turn our market into a very difficult place to interact if we don't get more inventory out there. Okay? I measure values at the top level in Tallahassee. You can measure values and get a feel for where the market's going. Okay? I've listed 32 neighborhoods where the homes have appreciated over 7% already this year. That means they're on pace to appreciate at over 12% this year. The top neighborhood is already at 35% over last year. Okay? You buy a $100,000 home last year, it's worth $135,000 this year. Pretty cool. If you're the one that owns it. If you're the one trying to buy into that neighborhood now, what happens is we're starting to see some sticker shock. We're starting to see demand settle down because buyers are like, I could have bought in there last year for $20,000 less. And while they're waiting, they're going up faster. So what we've got to do is solve our housing problem with more inventory, because we're seeing this hyperinflation and it's not something that we can sustain. Okay? This is a snapshot of all the inventory in town. Okay? And it's done by price range. And it basically shows what percentage of the homes on the market are already under contract. So imagine you're a buyer. You're out there looking at homes and you tell your realtor, hey, I want to go see that house. And we tell you, no, you don't. It's already under contract. You can't have it. Okay? Well, we're looking at roughly a third of the homes on the market are under contract. What we'd like to see is about a sixth of them under contract. So more than twice the amount of homes that are out there are under contract than what we'd like to see, because there's not enough out there. Okay, with one exception. I currently have my home on the market and it's priced between $550,000 and $600,000, and at that price point only 4% are under contract. All the other price points are above 20, and a lot of them are above 30. When we look at new versus existing home sales, okay, when we go back and we look all the way back into the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, believe it or not, 21 to 23% of homes sold were new construction. Always in the low 20s. Well, we got crazy and those numbers went up high and we overbuilt from 2002 through 2006. So we cooled down and those numbers dropped to less than 10%. Well, we've cooled down too long. We have not been building enough homes in Tallahassee. This year, less than 8% of the sales are new construction. It's not enough. Okay, my friends at Premier, I tell them for every house they build, if they had built 2, they'd be sold. They're rightfully cautious because they went through that 2002 to 2006. Okay? There's other builders that historically in my career would be getting spec loans from banks. They're not getting those loans. Occasionally I hear some murmurs about not enough lots. It's not true. If you're a big builder and you're looking for developments, I get it. It's true. If you're a onesie-twosie builder, there's over 1,000 lots that Ed helped me identify that are out there that are not built upon inside our services area. There's plenty of lots for the small pickup truck builder who traditionally has built a big percentage of our market. I don't know this as fact. I'm not a builder, but I believe that is a big missing component, and I think banks should look at their clientele who have demonstrated they could build in the past. They make for a very, very good risk posture right now. If you build a quality home, it will sell. If you build an inferior home, it will sell. Okay, so how do we calculate the actual shortage in the market? Right now, we believe, based on measurements, I think we're going to sell about 5,500 homes this year. Okay, so that means we need 2,750 in the inventory. That would be 6 months supply, and that gives us about 8,300 homes are needed. Where do those 8,300 homes come from? Well, there's, I'm going to guess, 1,540 in the MLS right now. Our measurements suggest about 4,800 to 5,600 people are going to enter the market as new home sellers this year. So the resale supply. Okay, so when we do the math, this tells us that we need builders to produce 1,100 to 1,900 homes this year just to meet our current rate of demand. 1,100 to 1,900 homes. I think based on our chart here, we're going to be 700 to 1,500 homes short. Meaning, if we do this exact same talk 1 year from today, inventory will be in a worse spot than it is right now. So, thank you.